Hello and welcome to Up South. Over the next 4 days, I and my colleagues Priyamvada and Srisha Reddy will travel deep inside Tamil Nadu, from Chennai to Kanyakumari, from Dharmapuri and Coimbatore to Trichy and Shivaganga, to get you an accurate sense of what the voters in this state are thinking this Lok Sabha election. Our first report is on Chief Minister Jayalalitha, who her party thought could be the next Prime Minister of India. Is that plan still on the AIADMK menu? Headlines today's newswheeler, Priyamvada travelled to Trichy to bring us this report.
Well, the plan to take the Chennai Express to Delhi seems to be on the loop line at the moment. But how is the buzz around Jayalalitha's campaign? To explore that, I am now on my way to Tiruchi, which incidentally also includes her Assembly constituency, Srirangam. See you at the other end of this 318-kilometer long journey.
The crowds were gathered when we reached Ponmalai ground in Trichy, the venue of Jayalalitha's public meeting. The stage, like most of her public meetings, looked like Parliament. And even though Jayalalitha does not say it, the message that Chennai is looking at New Delhi is not lost on anyone.
अम्मा काम है कुछ गलत होता है माफ करो आप भी दुआ करो आप कौन सा मुल्क वाला है मेरा नहीं मालूम है आपका मुल्क में भी दुआ करो मुसलमान हिंदू लोग क्रिश्चियन लोग सब लोग प्रेयर करता है अम्मा दिल्ली में बैठने का एक दफा अम्मा का प्राइम मिनिस्टर का देके मैं मर जाएगा तो परवाह नहीं है मैं ऊपर वाला अल्लाह से ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह मुहम्मद रसूलुल्लाह.
That hero worship and sycophancy is part of AIADMK's DNA is no secret. At the meeting, we met folk singer Anitha, a North Indian settled in Tamil Nadu. A new entrant into the AIADMK, Anitha and her husband Kuppuswamy have been composing songs in praise of the Chief Minister.
Through songs, I am giving the subject through song, and I am telling the whatever the problem happened and during that DMK rule and Congress, what they cheated. They cheated in Kaveri water and Kachativu and fishermen problem. They cheated so many things in those people.
All this is a build-up to the grand arrival of the Queen of Tamil Nadu, who would hope to be king or at least kingmaker in Delhi. Having been a successful actor, she knows her lines well and what clicks with her audience. The villains in her script are the DMK and the Congress.
இந்த தேர்தலின் மூலம் இந்திய நாட்டிலே நடைபெற்றுக் கொண்டிருக்கின்ற குடும்ப ஆட்சிக்கு ஊழல் ஆட்சிக்கு முற்றுப்புள்ளி வைக்க வேண்டும். மத்தியிலே மக்களாட்சி மலர வேண்டும். இதனை உங்களால் தான் சாதிக்க முடியும். செய்வீர்களா? நீங்கள் செய்வீர்களா?
Jayalalitha is silent about Modi. For now, while Jayalalitha is aiming to get maximum number of seats, her cadre continue to dream about Amma moving from Poise Garden to 7 Racecourse Road.
Like 44-year-old Badi Velu, who works at an eatery. He started cycling from Chennai in September 2013, campaigning for Jayalalitha, and will call it a day on the 21st of April in the state capital. We caught up with him on the road to Coimbatore.
Amma taste put varumbodhu what is full up பண்ணு அவன அம்மா சிரிச்சிட்டு கும்பு போட்டான் அம்மா கண்ணே இறக்கிட்டு சிரிச்சிட்டு கட்டட்டாங்க அவன் அம்மா போட்டு அவன் சொல்லிட்டான் எல்லாம் அம்மா நல்ல அருமை அம்மா மேலே
அம்மா பிரைம் மினிஸ்டர் ஆனம்னு நீங்கள் எதிர்பார்க்கிறீங்களா?
கண்டிப்பாக எதிர்ப்பாங்க சார் நான் சொல்ல புதுமக்களே சொல்லிட்டாங்க.
Then there is the ubiquitous MGR lookalike, a constant at every Jayalalitha public meeting.
It is 27 years since MGR died, but still he is the USP of the AIADMK. Campaigns don't happen without his songs, dances and lookalikes. People still relate to the charismatic actor turned politician.
Even in distant Madurai, otherwise known as Aragiri's stronghold, Jayalalitha has a committed following. Flower seller Renuka Devi is one who's sold on Amma's welfare agenda.
இந்த வருஷம் எலெக்ஷன்ல யாருக்கு ஜாஸ்தி சான்சஸ்?
அம்மாவுக்கு தான்.
எதுக்கு?
எங்களுக்கு அம்மா வந்து எல்லா உதவியும் செய்கிறதால அம்மா தான் நாங்கள்
என்ன உதவி செய்தா?
பிரசவ செலவு, கல்யாண திருமணம், சாப்பாடு உணவு அனைத்துமே எல்லாமே பாதுகாப்பு.
अम्मा को प्राइम मिनिस्टर नहीं देखना चाहते?
वो तो भगवान को तो नसीब है ना, हमारा तुम्हारे हाथ में क्या नहीं है।
हमारे तुम्हारे हाथ में ही है।
नहीं वो सब भगवान के हाथ में है।
The dream was fueled by what the cadre saw on 24th February, the day Jayalalitha turned 66. The cake was designed like Parliament. Even when the Tamil Nadu budget was presented, her finance minister O. Paneerselvam held a suitcase that showed his CM and Parliament.
I think maybe reality has dawned a bit more, especially when the psephologists threw out the numbers for BJP combined. I think maybe she feels that this election will not be the election where she will have those 30 or 35 seats to actually bargain, because that's the whole plan.
Her party's PM pitch has exposed Jayalalitha to ridicule from her political opponents.
Yeah, I think obviously because when she's campaigning, she's going to see what is really happening. So obviously she's understood that that is never going to happen. So it's better to actually tone it down and not go very hard on that and then get very embarrassed. I think they've realized. So at least that is good.
To get a sense of how the voters in Jayalalitha's backyard, Srirangam, feel about their CM becoming PM, we met Rajammal, a daily wage labourer. She was preparing idli batter. Amma was there too, the wet grinder bearing Jayalalitha's picture.
குழந்தை ஸ்கூலுக்கு அனுப்பும்போது அது ஒன்றும் பண்ண முடியாத சூழ்நிலையில் இருந்திருப்பேன். அம்மியில் அரைக்க முடியாது, ஆட்டுக்கல்ல அரைக்க முடியாது. இப்போ மிக்சி கரண்ட் அம்மா கொடுத்ததுனால எங்களுக்கு உயரமாக இருக்குது. இதை வந்து இப்போ
But there are voices of discontent too in Tamil Nadu.
ஜெயலலிதாக்கு எதுக்கு போட மாட்டேன்?
ஜெயலலிதா என்ன செஞ்சுருக்காங்க? எங்கள் காசு மக்கள் காசை வாங்கி தானே அவங்க கிரைண்டரு, மிக்சி, ஃபேனு, ஆடு மாடு இதெல்லாம் கொடுத்தாங்க. அதனால தான்
For many years, the DMK enjoyed positions of power in both NDA and UPA governments at the centre. Jayalalitha's mercurial temperament meant national parties were wary of dealing with her. But 2014, most believe, will be different, and that a short of majority NDA coupled with a decent show by the AIADMK will ensure Jayalalitha will be part of the power matrix at the centre.
One of the stories of this election in Tamil Nadu is that the Congress has been reduced to a side character in Tamil Nadu's political theatre. And to know what that means, we will now travel to Sivagangai, where sitting MP, Union Finance Minister P. Chidambaram refused to contest. And the Congress candidate now is his son, Karthi Chidambaram.
It is a fairly smooth 66-kilometer long drive on the highway from Madurai to Sivaganga. But the progressive look is deceptive. Sivaganga is listed among India's 250 most backward districts by the Union Panchayati Raj Ministry. This election, Sivaganga has been at the center of attention, with 42-year-old Karthi Chidambaram trying to woo the 10 lakh voters in the constituency. Will the Chidambaram surname make it advantage Karthi for the tennis-loving candidate is what everyone is curious about. It is close to noon and the 59 crore rupees worth Chidambaram Jr. arrives at this nondescript village near Karaikudi town in Sivaganga district. He has been told to smile more by his father, and he makes it a point to indulge in small talk to show he's one among them. His rival, H. Raja of the BJP, isn't impressed. Raja says the fact that Chidambaram chose to run away from the battlefield shows that the son is staring at a humiliating defeat.
He doesn't want to lose the deposit and lose his political face totally at the fag end of his political career. In Tamil Nadu, I am telling, take it from me, no Congress candidate will get back his deposit. All the 39 candidates would be, because it doesn't have any image now. The credibility is lost. Most incompetent government and most corrupt government has been provided by this UPA 1 and 2.
Karti Chidambaram is contemptuous of his father's critics, dismissing them as political nobodies.
People who are commenting about him haven't even contested a Panchayat election. They're commenting about somebody who's contested 8 parliamentary elections on the trot from the same constituency, which is a record in Tamil Nadu. Nobody has won 7 times to parliament from Tamil Nadu ever, and definitely not 7 times from the same constituency. Even the formidable so-called Dravidian leaders like Jayalalitha and Karunanidhi constantly change constituencies.
Call it self-confidence or arrogance, Karti and his father's personality traits are both a talking point and a factor in this election.
Dynastic politics is also an issue there, and Karti himself has to go and say that you don't have to look at me at Chidambaram's son, please look at my own merit and all that. So this is the kind of campaign even Karti is forced to do, and there's also a personality difference between the father and son. Father always has the sophistication of hiding his arrogance, and the son lacks even that.
Because they are fed up with him. Whenever people have got some complaint and go to him, he would say that, you see, I am finance minister for the whole country, it is not my headache. Like that, such an attitude has created a bad image about Mr. Chidambaram, and people are not prepared to heed him anymore.
But it is a bigger threat in the AIADMK that Karti would need to worry about. In 2009, P. Chidambaram squeezed through by a margin of 3,354 votes after a recount. And Jayalalitha has always alleged electoral malpractice was at play to see him home.
PC, as P. Chidambaram is referred to, has logged out in favour of son Karti, and he is banking on the voters of Shivaganga to enable Karti to open his account as a parliamentarian. Left to Jayalalitha, she would want Chidambaram Jr. to lose his deposit.
காங்கிரஸ் கட்சியின் சார்பில் அவரது மகன் கார்த்திக் சிதம்பரத்திற்கு வாய்ப்பு கொடுக்கப்பட்டுள்ளது. திரு கார்த்திக் சிதம்பரத்தை இந்த தேர்தலில் டெபாசிட் இழக்க செய்ய வேண்டும் என்று உங்கள் அனைவரையும் அன்புடன் கேட்டுக்கொள்கிறேன். செய்வீர்களா? செய்வீர்களா?
Voices like Muthu should, however, gladden Karti's heart.
விட மாட்டோம். எங்க உயிர் போனாலும் நாங்கள் காசு எப்படி அனுப்புவோம்? டெல்லி கோட்டைக்கு அனுப்புவோம்.
Stand anywhere in Sivaganga and you are unlikely to miss the sight of a bank. That is one of the perks of being the finance minister's constituency. Sivaganga is home to 254 bank branches. Of the 20 nationalized banks, 19 have set up shop here. There is a branch in the district for every 5,000 people, far ahead of the national average of one branch for 8,000 people.
It is an Amma versus Appa proxy battle being played out here in Shivaganga. The focus of Karti Chidambaram's campaign is to pit his father's development work against that of the government led by Amma, that is Jayalalitha.
Banks are visible because he's the finance minister, but there's a lot of other work which has happened other than banks. But banks have a lot of fallout effect. But okay, we've opened banks. But what has the AIADMK opened other than Tasman liquor shops?
Though father and son like to talk about the 900 crore rupees worth education loans that have been given by the banks to 50,000 students since 2004, many doubt if the achievement will act as an ATM from which Karti can withdraw goodwill returns.
Shivaganga even today is under the list of backward districts. It has not progressed like Salem or Erode or Coimbatore kind of a thing. That level it has not yet come. It is yet to come. So basically industrialization has to happen. Banks alone will not help the people to improve their standard of living.
Sivaganga, that is flanked by districts like Madurai, Trichy and Virudhunagar, is more like a poor cousin. Its track record in development, nothing to write home about.
The Virudhunagar district, which was also created along with Sivaganga, has become industrially and commercially advanced. What is there to tell in this constituency? There is no industry. The textiles at Nematambatti, the Nachiapuram textile industry, textiles at Kallal, Okkur, Namana Samudram, all are not functioning now.
Karthik Chidambaram chances are very nalla செஞ்சிருந்தாக்க ஈஸியா அவங்க கார்த்திக் சிதம்பரம் வந்திருக்கலாம்.
But look at the macro picture and you realize Sivaganga, in fact, is symptomatic of the larger malaise that afflicts the Congress. No regional force in Tamil Nadu wanted to touch it with a barge pole this election, and it chooses to adopt a brave posture vis-a-vis its splendid isolation.
No, it's not new that Congress went alone. Congress has already contested assembly election alone, and again parliament also in 98. So it's not the first time, but a long time. Last time was 98. But it's a long time. As far as workers are concerned, they are very happy.
Having the Union Finance Minister as its MP, the voters of Sivaganga thought would bring the gravy train of goodies to its doorstep. Has that happened, or have the voters been largely disappointed? April 24 will be report card time, when the voters here will decide whether to usher in a sunrise in Sivaganga. That's it then on this episode of Up South. See you from another part of Tamil Nadu tomorrow. Thanks for watching.